Ugh, that was disgusting. Okay, let's try that again. All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to If You Would Have Asked Me. I'm your host, Addie, and today we're going to be talking about the voice of worry and when fear disguises itself as intuition. So, as humans, we're always thinking about the past, the future, and how both control our present. Fear in our subconscious can disguise itself as intuition in our current moments. So, like, let's say that you went through something growing up and like it's something super simple, like let's say someone like shoved a cake in your face when you were a kid, right? And so now you're like older and like you and your significant other are like playing around and like you kind of want to shove that cake in your partner's face like a cutesy little thing, but you had a really bad experience with getting cake shoved in your face as a kid, so now you don't know if that's something that you should do because what if you hurt their feelings? Knowing that the way that you probably were going to do it was not going to hurt your partner's feelings. They were not going to be like, "Oh my god, you just put cake in my face." Like they're probably going to go, well, "I'm going to put it back on you." All right, well, let's go back and forth now. And then you'll get all flirty and blah 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 whatever. Um but do you see what I'm saying? That decision not to came from how your past controlled that present moment for you. So, this episode is about recognizing that voice and learning how to shift towards self support instead of self sabotage. So, I feel like if you relate to the podcast or if you relate to anything that I'm saying, for the most part, your mind is probably at a constant state of noise. Like, there's never not anything going on in your brain. Like, you are always thinking about something. And like sometimes that becomes like really overwhelming because you're thinking about how old experiences you're thinking about old experiences, and as you're not recognizing it, you're allowing your past to start shaping, like you're allowing those old experiences to still shape your current patterns. Like, so even like, yes, like even then, like when it was your only way to move, now as you're looking at it from like a present perspective where that's your younger self, you can kind of start to realize that those patterns aren't needed anymore. And it's hard to navigate that because on top of, how you're constantly thinking about how your past old experiences are still shaping your current thought patterns, you're also worrying about how the future is going to have, like, what the future's outcomes are going to be based on these past pains. So because you're constantly thinking about the past and what you went through, just in general, you're just constantly reminiscing, then you then start to worry about what's coming for the future because now you're sitting there like, I don't know, like everything just happened in this I can't stop thinking about this, and I'm now in this situation, but I'm not that person anymore. So how does this person react? And sometimes it's hard to even get to that thought because of how loud it is inside your head. And so as it all relates, you carry all of that pain from the past with you in your present moment today. And so the only thing that you're really learning is your overthinking, and how your overthinking starts to become fear, and how your fear starts to BMO, BMO. What the what is wrong with you? He ripped the freaking picture off the wall. The one under the light. I'm so sorry, guys. Look at what he did. Look at, he's over there. Do you see it? Someone just called me. I am so sorry because I'm not gonna edit this out. I'm not editing this out, and I'm so sorry, guys. Look at the freaking picture on the wall, dude. Okay, and do you realize how the top isn't on the wall? I just watched him do that. I don't know what he did, but I just watched him do it. It shouldn't be like that. Am I wrong? But he ripped it off the wall. It should be like that one. No, I literally heard him. It was a big dope. Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. So sorry. My cat's just like a menace, and I genuinely thought he ripped that off the wall. Whatever. I guess it's fine. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that. You can skip through that. I'll put that in the thing. Like skip through. I'll figure it out. I promise. Okay. But basically, to recap over what I was just trying to say is your mind, our mind, your mind is at a constant state of noise. And that noise is often how old experiences still shape current thought patterns, how you start, and that starts to lead into how you're worrying about outcomes based on that past pain in your future, which then becomes how you carry that pain today in your present. And so the only lessons that you're learning from that thought pattern because of what you allow the constant state of noise to be in your head, you start to just overthink more and more, and that overthinking becomes fear, and that fear fuels your subconscious. And so the most generic thing I could think of, if you do not learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. That applies within yourself. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. That's it. That's what I'm saying. So, once you kind of start thinking about that, you also have to understand and start to look out for when fear masquerades as your intuition, because of how long you've been living in those cycles and how uncomfortable you feel with breaking them. The only way to start breaking them is to recognize when fear masquerades as your intuition. So, like, take a second right now and think about what that little voice in the back of your head sounds like. You know, think about how it creeps right in when you're overflowing with positive energy and you're about to do something that you think is so absolutely awesome and amazing. And then all of a sudden there's that little voice in your head and you're going, well, maybe I can't do it. I don't know. Maybe I should start over. Maybe this just wasn't meant for me. Maybe this I don't I just that's what it sounds like for me. So your intuition will only ever guide you, but fear will manipulate you. And that difference is subtle, but it's very powerful because the intuition will start to kind of call you towards it, but it'll feel like a calling of light rather than a calling of worry. Because even in your intuition, when it's something that you need to be worried about, you are still pretty able to feel the light that's coming from that worry. You know when you're worrying about something that you should be worrying about. That is something that your intuition also gives you. They don't just give you all the good stuff. Fear will manipulate you into doing nothing that will ever put you in the risk of needing your intuition, therefore not really being able to connect with yourself. And that initial spark that you get from positive energy is a call to action. It's something saying, hey, wake up. You shouldn't be handling it that way. And fear will only show up about 0.5 seconds after you have that absolutely amazing positive energy, like, or just floating inside you like a little fairy. Um, Fear will literally show up 0.5 seconds after you have that, based on your subconscious patterns and based off of what you're familiar with throughout your whole life. Fear will always come in whatever way that it does for you. And like, it might not even be a thought, your actions just might start to change and you have no idea why, and you're just like, ugh, I'm in one of those moods again, but you're low-key not in a mood. You're in a rut, and you're falling further down the garbage disposal when you were trying to fall down the rabbit hole. Like, hope that made sense. Sorry. I'm being the white rabbit for Halloween. So like, I'm all to which it was and to that it will be. Um but when this fear comes up 0.5 seconds after you have a beautiful positive spark of pixie dust or light or whatever you want to call it, don't allow that fear to be confused as wisdom, because your real intuition speaks with clarity, not worry. So you'll have a it won't it won't affect your body. No, that's a lie, because there's times where like your intuition really needs to yell at you and it'll make you sick and it'll make you that's from personal experience. Psh, I literally could not sleep for like a month and a half because of my ex. We were like sleeping in the same bed together, and like he was doing some dumb shit, and I didn't know what he was doing, and I was just believing what he was saying, but I could not fucking sleep. Listen to your gut, guys. Listen to your gut. That's all I gotta say. Um, think back to a time when a positive impulse came like to your mind and you decided to ignore it because your fear disguised itself as intuition. And so you held back and you decided that you weren't going to be your fullest and most amazing, beautiful, wonderful self because a little fear thought popped right in right after you had a really wonderful one. And you were like, yes, it's wisdom. And sometimes it's a lot easier to kind of accept that you are stuck in cycles by understanding and accepting that your past trauma is what shapes this voice. And trauma experiences, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter what you've been through. We've all been through more than enough that we don't need to explain it to other people. But starting from when you're in the womb, trauma, like you start learning, and it kind of shapes the way that your mind works. So if there's a lot of chaos outside of you and no one's talking you through anything while you're in the womb, and like as you're growing up and you don't have those outlets, a lot of things are going to seem like a completely different dynamic from what you know. And so those past experiences that shape your mind are what teach your subconscious to protect you. And sometimes that's even from your growth. It'll start to develop fear based habits like avoiding risk and self isolation and repeating unhealthy cycles. Because trauma doesn't just create pain, and past experiences don't just create pain. They create false safety signals that block new experiences in your life. Like they deny yourself that freedom of just doing whatever you want because you're scared of what might happen. And so when it comes to breaking these cycles, you have to be able to recognize that voice of fear, take a second and ask, where did this come from? Did this start in joy or did this start in worry? Was I flashed back to a moment from my past before I started getting worried, or is this a new worry that is just presenting itself? Trust your gut when you ask yourself questions like this. Support yourself with small, consistent actions towards growth. And if you're worried about doing something new and you choose to stay somewhere that makes you feel comfortable, even though you're not moving forward, you're not growing. You're safe, sure, but you're not growing. And if you're happy there, then by all means be happy there. However, if you're not happy there, which I'm not, I don't know, maybe if you're watching this because you're also not, I would fucking hope so. Um then you have to get out of your own way of your own growth. And the way out of self-destruction is not force. It's building self-supporting habits. Choosing self-support over self-sabotage is key to breaking cycles like this. And like right now, like I just downloaded an app. I'm not gonna like talk about it because I'm not sponsored, so like whatever. But it helps me create a list. I get little like rewards. I have like a little pet. Like it's really cool. And it's just helped me like be more productive because like I just haven't felt motivated recently. Like it took a lot for me to just record this episode today, I'll be real. Um so like in the app for me, or even sometimes just in general, I have like a stack of notebooks. I have a stack of notebooks that I keep on me at all times because sometimes I just need to let things out. So like I also like I'm very spiritual. So like I will journal. I will do grounding rituals. So like I'll take like a shower and I'll use like a special sugar scrub and I'll like say affirmations. I'll get ready and I'll tell myself affirmations in the mirror. Like I'll do what I need to do for myself. For you, it could literally be like playing the drums. Like we are all completely different people, and what helps us kind of break and support, like what helps us build a better support system with ourselves to break these cycles is whatever it is for you. Like I'm just giving you what I do. Like I will get on TikTok and I'll give myself like a and I'll give myself like a little pep talk, or like I'll have like a random TikTok give me a pep talk, and then I'll like go and I'll like make my little TikTok videos with like the biggest fattest attitude in the world because like fuck you. You know what? Damn straight I did do that shit. I have grown a lot. I do take care of myself. I get done what needs to get done. Like best believe I'm not out here doing nothing for nothing. Like there is a reason. There is a method to this madness. Don't ever doubt me. Like and even like with that, like I had someone text me on TikTok the other day actually, and they were like, "Hey, love your podcast. Everything's super cool. Have you ever thought of like doing like a full script or like rehearsing it more? Like there's so much potential, but like you don't execute you don't execute it. And I'm like, valid. I see what you're saying. I understand. But that's not the point. Like, I don't know how many times, I don't even think I've fully expressed this on the podcast yet, or at least, yeah, whatever. Um, but it's not about being digestible for like mainstream everyday social media, people who don't even have the patience and like the want to kind of just chill with something. Like, it's not for those people. It's for people who, like, I literally sometimes I like to listen to TikToks, or I like to listen to people's like videos, or listen to people talk like just while I do things. Sometimes music is too much. Like, whatever it is for you, sometimes you just kind of need something that's just not so ramped up. Like, this isn't like, the point isn't to be quick and easy for everybody. The point is to be real and honest, and I'm going to be real and honest all the time. And for me, being real and honest is me emphasizing how I am nowhere near perfect, but it does not matter. Shit needs to get done. We have shit to do. Every supportive choice that you do for yourself, the real intuition and the quiet, whoa, hold on. So sorry. So, back to choosing self support over self sabotage, because I know that was like a really big old tangent there. So, my bad. Examples of self supporting habits are journaling, grounding rituals, mindful self talk, reaching out for help. Every supportive choice strengthens the real intuition and quiets the voice of worry. Healing is not about silencing fear, it's about learning not to mistake it for your guide. And so, as we come to the end, I just want to do a quick little recap, just a rundown of kind of what we went over and all that nonsense. Um, so, the first thing, the subconscious voice of worry comes from past experiences and traumas and every life lessons that you've had in your past. It pretends to be your intuition, but its goal is to keep you in old cycles out of fear of not being able to be comfortable again. Real intuition comes from clarity and alignment, not fear and worry. And so this week, when you hear that little voice, pause and like take a second and ask yourself, is this fear or is this truth? And allow your most honest self to give you that answer, because you are not your fears. You are the call you felt in your heart before you tried to talk you out of it, before fear tried to talk you out of it. Um, and that's pretty much all we've got for today, guys. Um, if I keep that part in about my cat, I'm so sorry. But like, I genuinely thought that she ripped that thing off the wall, but apparently she didn't. So like, whatever. Um, but yeah, if this episode resonated with you guys, go ahead, share it with your friends, put it on TikTok, do whatever the hell you want to do with it. Um, and yeah, I don't know, stay fan freaking tastic, guys.